Greetings, everybody. It's me, your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my movie series, Nails in a Coffin, where we learn that with great kills, there must also come great nails. Today, we're going to finish up the Scream franchise with Scream 4, which was released in 2011, 11 years after the release of Scream 3. But before we get to the nailing, I do want to mention one thing that I found kind of frustrating with the Scream franchise, is that when these killers put on the Ghostface costume, it's almost like they were putting on the costume in The Greatest American Hero. Look at what's happened to me. And they get really increased stamina and strength. Because when we get the reveal of who the killers are, especially in this movie, there's just no way they could have pulled off some of the feats that Ghostface pulled off. But we're going to get to that when we get to the kills. So everybody sit back, relax, and let's do some Nails in a Coffin for Scream 4. Our first couple kills in Scream 3 happen at just 3 minutes in, and our first victim to go is Trudy. She's home with her friend Sherry, and they're getting phone calls from one of Trudy's stalkers. We know it's Ghostface, and he's starting to threaten them. So Trudy gets kind of upset, so she goes to the front door to check to make sure it's locked. Her friend Sherry is just trying to play it off, thinking it's a prank, it's nothing serious or whatnot, and that is obviously going to be her downfall. So they go check the door, and there's nobody outside there, but Ghostface is still calm, threatening them. So now we see Trudy on the phone with Ghostface, and she's looking outside saying, hey, there's nobody there. But before Trudy can even react, Ghostface comes from the side, stabs her, and kills her. Apparently, Trudy has no peripheral vision or any type of spatial awareness, how she didn't see Ghostface running towards her or even standing towards her on the side horror, and how that happened. So it's really kind of ridiculous. Trudy, you're going to get one nail in the coffin because you have no peripheral vision and no sense of awareness to anything going on around you. Her friend Sherry quickly dies right after her. She sees Trudy get killed, so she goes to run outside and go get some help. But there's another Ghostface there, and she runs into that Ghostface, and he also stabs her to death, killing her. I'm also going to give Sherry one nail in the coffin because she was playing off these threats that they were both getting on the phone as just a prank or whatnot. They weren't taking any of it seriously. They just played it off. So Trudy and Sherry, you're each going to get one nail in the coffin for the first kills in Scream 4. But one thing that we find out right after they're killed is that this is not really part of the Scream movie. It is that Rachel and her friend are watching Stab 6, and what we just saw is some of the kills that happened in Stab 6. Our next kill happened just a few minutes later. Rachel is watching Stab 6 with Chloe. Rachel is going off on a diatribe on how these slasher movies Stab are really dumb and meta. It's just to increase a body count when they, can't get away from Ghostface, and she's going off on how stupid it is. Her friend Chloe doesn't believe so. She thinks, these movies are actually scary. Well, they just finished watching Stab 6, but guess what? This is Stab 7 because as Rachel is going off, Chloe takes a knife, stabs it into Rachel's gut, and kills her. So for Rachel's death, I'm going to give her a couple extra more points, and I'm going to give her 3 nails in the coffin because she understood the meta craziness of these Stab movies, and she wasn't expecting her friend Chloe to stab her in the gut. And Chloe, when she killed her, said it's because you never shut the F up. For Rachel, I'm giving you 3 nails in the coffin for your kill. And like I said, this was just parts of Stab 7. At 10 minutes in, we have our next death. Jenny and Marnie are home alone, and they're talking about the Stab movies and about Ghostface. Jenny hears a noise, so she goes upstairs to go investigate. Marnie's downstairs, and she gets a phone call, and it is Ghostface, and he starts to threaten her. But we come to find out that it's just Jenny playing a joke on her. So as Jenny is teasing Marnie, saying how she got her with the joke, she hears Marnie start choking and pretty much just hears her die. Jenny gets really scared, and she goes downstairs to go investigate what happened. She sees the phone on the floor, and the lights are out, and she's walking around the house. And before she realizes what's going on, Ghostface takes Marnie's body and throws her through this glass door. We don't see how Marnie got killed, so I'm not going to rate her for our nails in the coffin. So as soon as Jenny sees Marnie's body fly through the door, she starts to run away because it's Ghostface. And she goes to run outside, but the chain is on the door. She can't unlatch it. So she runs upstairs and Ghostface is chasing her around the house. She can't get away from him. She tries to make it outside. Ghostface catches up to her in the garage. And we see almost a similar kill when she tries to get out from underneath the garage. But, instead of Ghostface lifting her up with the garage like in Scream, the first one, it pulls down on her and injures her. He drags Jenny back into the garage. The title credits come on with Ghostface stabbing Jenny. Jenny, I'm going to give you 2 nails in the coffin because you did try to run away and you did try and get away from Ghostface. So you're going to get 2 nails in the coffin. But this brings up something I may change up with my rankings, especially in these stab movies. A lot of these victims aren't even given a chance to get away or fight off Ghostface. And it's just the way the writers wrote the script and the plot as far as just, a real quick kill to increase the body count. So when I see a kill like that where the victim really wasn't given a chance, I'm going to cut it down the middle and give that victim 2 nails in the coffin. Our next kill takes place at 35 minutes in, and it is Olivia. Olivia is on the phone with Jill. Jill and Kirby are hanging out in Jill's bedroom. Kirby gets a phone call, and it's Ghostface, but she thinks it's Trevor, Jill's boyfriend. But we come to find out that it is Ghostface. He starts threatening her, saying, hey, I'm hiding in the closet. So Kirby's kind of scared. Jill is getting kind of worried as well. Kirby goes to the closet, throws the doors open, and obviously there's nobody there, so she just thinks it's one big elaborate joke. Well, Ghostface tells her, I didn't say I was in your closet. And before we realize what else is going on, Ghostface bursts out of Olivia's closet, stabs her a bunch of times, and winds up gutting her on the bed that she sleeps on. And Jill and Kirby are watching this through their bedroom window because they're able to look into Olivia's window. Jill and Kirby are terrified because they're seeing one of their best friends being stabbed to death. They're screaming. Sydney, who is in Jill's house because they are cousins, runs into the room, sees this, and she runs outside to go try and help Olivia while Jill and Kirby are standing there watching Olivia being stabbed to death. I'm going to give Olivia 2 nails in a coffin. She was just set up to increase the body count. We don't know how Ghostface got into her closet and he burst through the closet door and started stabbing her. She really didn't have any time to react or defend herself. And like I said, one thing I've found with these Scream movies, they're just trying to increase that body count, not even giving the victims a chance. When that happens, I'm going to just shoot down the middle and give the victim 2 nails in a coffin, unless I see something really ignorant or stupid that they may have done, or if I see something they could have done to try and get away. But we didn't really see anything like that, so Olivia, I'm going to go down the middle and give you 2 nails in the coffin. At 47 minutes, we have our next death, and it is Rebecca Walters. She is leaving a parking garage late at night, walking to her car. She gets a phone call from Ghostface, which we already know the formula, and he starts to threaten her, really scaring her. She runs to her car because she's terrified, and as soon as she gets in her car, she locks the doors, locks the windows, and she actually checks the back seat, which was actually pleasant to actually see somebody doing. She goes to start the car, but it won't start because Ghostface had disabled it. So she's freaking out. Ghostface jumps on top of the hood, scaring her, and she really doesn't know what to do. But I think she forgets she has a phone because she gets out of her car, checks underneath it to see if Ghostface is there, and she starts running to the exit. As soon as she gets to the exit, the door is locked, the handle breaks off the door. She turns around, Ghostface runs up from behind her and stabs her in the gut, killing her. I don't know why she got out of the car. She was probably safer in the car. She could have honked the horn, hit the emergency distress button on the key fob that all the cars have. It could have at least gotten some more attention, and she had her phone, so she could have called the cops, something. I don't think she should have got out of the car. So, Rebecca, I'm sorry, but I'm only going to give you 1 nail in the coffin for getting out of the car. You started off well by checking the back seat and locking the doors, but that stupid decision led to your downfall when you got out of the car. You should have stayed in it. So, Rebecca, 1 nail in the coffin. Our next 2 deaths happen at 1 hour and 4 minutes in and 1 hour and 5 minutes in. It is Officer Haas and Officer Perkins. Officer Haas and Perkins are outside of Sydney's house, just keeping an eye on it since, Ghostface has been killing people and Sydney is a prime target. Officer Haas is walking around the outside of the house and he sees an open window. This raises suspicion to him, so he calls in to Officer Perkins to see if he knows about an open window. He goes back to the patrol car. He sees Officer Perkins slumped onto the steering wheel. He goes to check on Perkins, but it was just Officer Perkins playing a joke on Officer Haas just to scare him. And as they're laughing about that, talking, Ghostface runs up behind Officer Haas and stabs into him back, killing him. And then before Officer Perkins can even do anything, Ghostface takes a knife and sticks it into Officer Perkins' forehead. Doesn't kill him right away because we see Officer Perkins get out of the car, with his hand covering his forehead with blood gushing out all over the place. He dies a few seconds later where he makes a dumb joke which really didn't fit the movie and slumps down onto the ground dead. I'm going to give each of the officers 2 nails in the coffin because, again, they weren't given a chance to do anything. And that's one of my problems with this movie, the power and the strength that they gave Ghostface, especially when we find out who's actually wearing the costume. The body count is starting to increase. We're 1 hour and 8 minutes in, and our next death is Kate Roberts, played by Mary McDonald. She just came back from some shopping, and Sydney is unpacking some groceries. She gets a phone call from Ghostface. Ghostface is freaking out Sydney, and Sydney finds out that Jill has left the house and she's not home. So Sydney and Kate start rushing out of the house to go find Jill. They go to one door, they see Ghostface, slam it shut. They go to another door in the house, they see Ghostface again, and slam it shut. Kate puts her foot against the wall to push the door shut since Ghostface has his arm with the knife there. So the door is able to slam shut and Sydney locks it. Kate slumps down to the ground and Sydney goes off to go get some help. She turns around and Kate is still sitting there on the floor by the door. Well, Ghostface had opened the mail slot in the door, took the knife, stabbed it through the mail slot, and was able to get it into Kate's back and kills her. Kate, I'm going to again give you down the middle for 2 nails in the coffin because you really weren't given much of a chance. You were smart in how you pushed the door shut. You did slump against the door, but I don't really think many people would think that someone's going to lift open the mail slot and be able to get a knife through the mail slot with enough force to be able to go into somebody's back to kill them. So for that, Kate, I'm giving you right down the middle 2 nails in the coffin. Our next kill in Scream 4 is Robbie. And this happens at 1 hour and 19 minutes in. He's walking outside the house and he's got this GoPro type camera strapped to his forehead. He's messing with it and he realizes the camera is pointed behind him. So he takes it off his head and he's adjusting the camera to make sure it's recording everything that he sees. So it's recording everything that he sees as he's looking at his phone to where the video capture is going to, instead of just looking out in front of him. But he wants to record everything that he sees. As he's fixing the camera to adjust the aspect of it to, video what's going on in front of him, the door opens to the house. There's Ghostface. Ghostface sprints to him, stabs him a bunch of time, and kills him. Robbie wasn't given a chance in this movie. He was oblivious to everything that was going on around him. But then I don't understand how Ghostface knows the exact position of everybody in this movie at every given time. Again, I'm going to go with my criteria and give Robbie 2 nails in the coffin because he wasn't given a chance. He really didn't even have time to run away because as soon as Ghostface opened the door, he sprinted. Robbie just had a time to look shocked for a second, and he was stabbed and killed. Robbie, again, you weren't given a chance in Scream 4, so down the middle, you're getting 2 nails in the coffin. Moving right along, we got Kirby next to die at 1 hour and 25 minutes in. She's on the phone with Ghostface, as everybody always is in this movie who's about to die. She's on the phone with Ghostface, and she sees Charlie bloody, tied to a chair outside of the patio. Ghostface is copying what happens in the first Scream with Drew Barrymore's character and her boyfriend tied outside, asking her trivia questions about horror movies. Ghostface is asking her these trivia questions. Kirby's getting them right, and then Ghostface just stops talking. So Kirby thinks, hey, I got it right. Maybe Charlie is going to be okay. So she goes outside to untie Charlie, and as she's doing this, Charlie takes a knife and stabs her in the stomach, killing her. because we are now revealed that Charlie is one of the killers wearing the Ghostface costume. Again, Kirby didn't do anything wrong here. She was getting a lot of the questions right, and she kind of did show a lot of bravery when she was talking to Ghostface. She wasn't intimidated. She was being really tough and brave, and she didn't have any fear when she went outside to go save her friend Charlie. So for that, Kirby, I'm giving you 3 nails in a coffin, because so far in this movie, you definitely showed the most amount of courage when being faced with Ghostface. It's just, you were duped. You thought your friend was in danger, in harm's way. You went to go help him, and you were stabbed in the stomach for your efforts. So, Kirby, I apologize you had to die like that, but you're getting 3 nails in the coffin. Right at an hour and 27 minutes, we have our big reveal on who the Ghostface killers are. We have Charlie, played by Rory Culkin, and Jill, Sydney's cousin, played by Emma Roberts. Their big plan is to frame all these killings on Trevor, which is Jill's ex-boyfriend. So Charlie and Jill had used like these GoPro type cameras to record all their killings, and their big plan is to kill Sydney, kill Trevor, and make it look like Trevor committed all these murders. Charlie pulls Trevor out of the closet, just like Stu and Billy did to Sydney's dad in the first Scream. And if you see what Trevor is wearing, he's actually wearing the same outfit that Sydney's dad was wearing at the end of Scream. So Jill now has a gun pointed down at Trevor, who's on the floor all tied up. And she's talking on what a crappy boyfriend he is, and he didn't even make her famous. So like I said, the big plan is to frame Trevor for all these killings. And then Jill shoots Trevor right in the ding-ding before killing him by shooting him again. For that alone, I'm sorry, Trevor. I didn't see how you were taken captive by Charlie and Jill. You're a big guy, and Charlie is a short, skinny dude. And Jill is like about 5'2". So I don't see how they were able to do this. So I'm not going to take any points off for that there, Trevor. And for dying the way that you died, the way that Jill shot you, I'm definitely going to give you 3 nails in the coffin, because again, you weren't really given a chance, and you died a pretty horrible way there, Trev. So Trevor, 3 nails in the coffin. Charlie is our next person to die at an hour and 30 minutes in. Him and Jill are recreating the stabby stab game that Billy and Stu were playing at the end of the first Scream. Jill is going to stab Charlie first. Charlie's trying to psych himself up. He's smacking himself in the face, trying to, because he's about to get stabbed, telling Jill, okay, get me in the shoulder, get me in the shoulder. Jill just stabs him in the chest, killing him. Why? She stabs him a few more times, and Charlie falls down to the ground dead. Yeah, Charlie, I'm easily giving you 1 nail in the coffin. You had this stupid plan to try and get famous with framing and whatnot. And yeah, it just didn't make any sense. It wasn't a good plan. It was dumb. And yeah, you easily deserve 1 nail in the coffin for your death for trying to play these stupid games. And deservedly so. You're dead now. So Charlie, 1 nail in the coffin. Our final kill in Scream 4 is Jill. And this happens at an hour and 42 minutes in. They're in the hospital, and Jill is talking to Dewey. Dewey tells Jill that Sydney is not dead. She's still alive. So Jill goes to Sydney's room to go finish the job, because obviously this would throw a big monkey wrench into Jill's plan. So Jill is talking to Sydney, going off on her, saying, why couldn't you just die? They're wrestling back and forth, but Jill is able to further wound Sydney by punching her and kicking her into stitches from the stab wounds. As this happens, Dewey is running towards Sydney's room because he had figured out that Jill was responsible for all the murders. So Dewey is running to Sydney's room. As soon as he gets into this room, Jill is able to surprise him and hits him in the head with the bedpan and in the back. And she knocks Dewey out and picks up his gun. Then Gail makes it into Sydney's room with Judy, which is Dewey's partner. They're behind a bed and Jill has a gun at him. She shoots Judy in the chest, but Judy's wearing a bulletproof vest. And then she has the gun on Gail, and she's telling Gail, put your arms up and come over here. Gail right now is just distracting Jill, because what Jill doesn't know is that Sydney is fully not dead. Sydney grabs the defibrillator that is in the room with her. She charges it to full, and Jill is talking to Gail. Gail says, clear, and Sydney takes the defibrillator to either side of Jill's head and zaps her, and Jill falls down to the ground. But she's not dead yet, because we always know in these movies that they're never fully dead till the final bullet. So Sydney, Gail, and Dewey are on the ground talking to each other. And we see Jill in the background grabbing a piece of glass, ready to go try and stab Sydney. But Sydney knows that Jill is doing this. Sydney grabs the gun, shoots Jill, and kills her. Jill, for this crazy plan you had, you're never going to get anything more than one nail in the coffin because it didn't make any sense. You killed all your friends. You tried to kill your cousin. You killed your mom just so you can get fame, which is ridiculous and stupid, Jill. So, no apologies here. You easily deserve one nail in the coffin. No way would you ever get more than that, Jill, because your plan was stupid and you were stupid. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. That is the final kill in Scream 4 and the final kill in the Scream franchise for now. I know Scream 5 was just released, but I haven't seen it yet, and it's not on home video, so I'm not going to be able to cover it yet. So for now, for the first 4 Scream movies, those are all the nails in the coffin. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this franchise. I'm not the biggest fan of these franchises. I'm not going to say they're bad movies. They're just not for me. My age and the slashers I grew up on, I like more of the 80s type of slashers. And those are the movies I really love to cover. And I definitely will be covering some more of those movies. But I hope you enjoyed it. I'm your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete. And if you want to do me a favor, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video out. Help me grow this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. We're going to head to Texas for the next franchise, and I'm very excited to cover those movies because some of those movies are really good. So I'm real happy to be covering the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, and you're going to see that first video next Friday. So I hope you enjoy, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'm your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and remember that with great kills, there must also come great nails.